All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is August 11th. Happy Friday to everyone out there. We got a jam-packed MLB slate to jump into today. Like we always do, we're gonna go through each and every game. I'm gonna give you my lean or leans on the games, but my final play, so what I'm actually gonna be rolling with tonight, if you do want to fade me, those plays will be in the pinned comment. In terms of last night, coming off of a nice little 2-1 night, the Guardians cash for us plus 118. The Cinda Guardians come through, and then Freddie Freeman for plus 100. Get another little cha-ching in there. He only has one hit, but it is a double in his first at-bat, and then we cash, and then he walked like the rest of the game. So shout out to Freddie Freeman for cashing for us there. The only play that we lost was the Nationals-Phillies over 9. They actually got close. I made a TikTok, I think after the 5th or 6th inning, and it was 0-0, and I was like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? I was wrong about everything, right? And the bullpens come in. I think the game finished 6-2, so it actually was pretty close, but nonetheless, still an L there. And then in terms of our ride of the day, let's pump in some damn crowd noise. Let's go. We had Columbus King coming in with the Nerfy in the Twins and Tigers game. They didn't score a run until like the 6th inning, so that Nerfy absolutely cashes. So pretty good night all around. We hit our ride of the day. We go 2-1 in our picks, so we're feeling good heading into this Friday. If you do want to be the ride of the day, all you got to use is hashtag ride of the day in the comments and give me a nice little pick there, and then I'm jumping on board with one person's pick and giving you guys a shout out in the next video, win or loss. And as a reminder, for the next, I would say 2 days, this is probably the last video with the normal setup. We are going away for the weekend, still gonna put out the videos hopefully, but I just wanted to let you guys know that we'll be away from home. So if they come out at weird times, or they're shorter videos, that is why. But before we get into today's slate, guys, I want to talk to you guys about Daily Grind Fantasy. If you've not checked out DGF yet, you are absolutely missing out, especially if you are over on Prize Picks, guys. They have a tool called the Optimizer, which is just absolutely insane here. You can see that it compares Prize Picks lines to Sportsbooks lines for so many different sports, right? Even esports here. It compares the lines, also the odds that sportsbooks are offering, so you know the value that you have going into Prize Picks and building a Prize Pick slips. As you know, Prize Picks doesn't care about odds, it doesn't care about lines, so why not throw a bunch of juiced picks into a slip, right? The more negative the number, the bigger the negative number, the higher chance it is to hit, because sportsbooks don't mess up all that often. So go check out Daily Grind Fantasy, guys. I have a link for a 7-day free trial in the pinned comment as well as the description. It really is a great tool. I use it every time I'm throwing in a Taco Tuesday pick or anything like that. And it's not just Prize Picks, it's a bunch of the DFS apps over there as well. Underdog, Parlay Play, Sleeper, Jock Market, all that type of stuff, guys. Thrive. Go check out Daily Grind Fantasy. I have a link for that in the description here. And let's get into first game here. The first game that we're looking at is going to be Tampa Bay taking on the Guardians, and not the Cinda Guardians, the Guardians. Guardians do take 2 of 3 against Toronto in what were 3 really low-scoring games. Tampa Bay coming off of losing 2 straight and 2 of 3 against the Cardinals here. On the mound for Cleveland is going to be Xavier Curry, and then on the mound for Tampa Bay is going to be Aaron Savali, who didn't look all that bad in his first start. Didn't look great. Didn't look bad in or great, I guess, in his first start for Tampa Bay. Curry's got a 1 flat ERA in his last 5 starts here. He's not going deep into games, obviously, but still worth noting that he's not letting up many runs here. And then Savale, a 1.6 ERA in his last 5 here. I do like Savale. I feel like I've talked about him plenty on the channel. He didn't look great. I know, like I said, he didn't look bad, but didn't look great in his first start. But I'm willing to give him a second chance here. The only issue is the juice that you're going to be paying here, minus 190. So I do lean towards Tampa Bay, but maybe you consider them on the run line at plus 105. And I know it's kind of crazy that you're looking at this Tampa Bay team being like, wow, this Tampa Bay team's in shambles, and you're taking them on the run line. Yeah, I think they match up really well against this Cleveland team, and I wouldn't take, that Cleveland team winning 2 out of 3 against Toronto for more than just a good little series for them, because again, they weren't scoring that many runs. They had lost, they had lost 7 of their last 8 or something like that prior to, so I don't want to put too much stock into them winning the series here. You look at how they've been batting versus righties, 213 in their last 5 games here. At least Tampa Bay, even though they're not scoring that many runs, they are batting for average. They have a 308 average against righties in their last 5. So give me Tampa Bay on the run line for some plus money, plus 105 over on Caesars right now. And then in terms of a total, I like the over here, but that's because I think that Tampa Bay scores a decent amount of runs. I think Cleveland's going to give you maybe 3 runs, which is even asking a lot based on their last few games here. So probably the over or pass, and maybe I even lean and ultimately end up passing here. But I do like Tampa Bay on the run line. We'll see if that makes it its way into the final play. I won't be lying, or I would be lying if I said it wasn't, because it's plus money. If you're even looking at minus 105 here for that Tampa Bay run line, that's probably a pass for me as well. All right, next up, we have Miami taking on the Yankees here. Marlins are minus 142. I know it's not updated in the graphic, but minus 142 on the money line. You get the Yankees for plus 126 right now over on FanDuel. Total is sitting at 8.5, and I'm looking at an underdog in this one, the Yankees, plus 126. So we don't know who's pitching for the Yankees yet, which is obviously a big deal. We don't necessarily want to go in, guns blazing here if we don't know who's necessarily pitching. I think Cortez is supposed to pitch, and then Cole in games 2 and 3 in this series, so we'll see who ends up pitching in this one here. But nonetheless, guys, we are looking at the Yankees in terms of Arlene, just due to the fact that they are hitting, lefties very well as of late. So, Jesus Luzardo's on the mound for the Miami Marlins, if I didn't mention that yet. He has been fine, but his last 2 starts have not been fine, all right? So he's had a good year, but his last 2 starts here, one against Detroit, 4 2/3 pitched, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, and only 3 strikeouts and 3 walks, averaging almost 21 pitches per inning. Then he goes up against Texas, which is a good offense, so I'm willing to be like, all right, it's a good offense, but still 6 hits through 5 innings pitched, 4 earned runs. He did have 8 Ks, but he let up 3 home runs there. So he's kind of, in the slump as of right now. And this Yankees team, in their last 10 games, averaging over 10 runs per 9, 375 average here, averaging 1 home run. So I do like what we're seeing there. And it even jumps up to a 385 average if you look at their last 5 versus the lefty here. So give me the Yankees, who I will say they haven't historically on the season here hit lefties all that well, but as of late, hitting lefties well. For some plus money here, 126, I will take that. In terms of the total 8.5 runs, if both these teams do what they've done this entire season, we're still even looking at an under. So I am going to slightly lean towards the under here, but I wouldn't really say convincingly or anything like that, okay? This Yankees team, they've had a few high-scoring games in their last 5 or so, Miami as well, but I don't necessarily trust the consistency from either side. So, if you want to look at consistency, we're looking at the entire year where the Yankees have averaged 4.3 runs for and 4.3 runs against in their games, 8.6 total, right? Miami, 4.05 runs for and then 4.38 runs against their total, meaning a 8.43. So if they just play to what they've been doing this season, we do see a slight under there. So give me the under in this one, just ever so slightly in terms of my lean. All right, we have Pittsburgh taking on Cincinnati here. Cincinnati losing 2 of that 3-game series against Miami. Pittsburgh taking the last win against Atlanta and the first one, so they bookended that series. They take 2 of 4 against Atlanta, which at this point in time, you might want to say is kind of like winning of a series, right? If you can split a series, a 4-game series against Atlanta, praise to you there. In terms of where we're leaning today, I like Pittsburgh on the money line for plus 105 right now over on Caesars. The total sitting at 9. We'll get to that in just a second, but Johan Oviedo on the mound for Pittsburgh, who I haven't liked him, but the dude's turning it around, and I gotta call, a spade a spade. He's been pitching fairly well. He's got a 1.6 ERA in his last 5 starts here. In his last 3 starts, if you want to say that that's a little bit too big of a sample size, in his last 3 starts here, he's got a 0.9 ERA and a 0.95 whip. So the dude is dealing as of late, and he hasn't even been that bad on the year. He's going up against Andrew Abbott, who's kind of quite the opposite. 2.9 ERA on the season. You're like, oh, wow, he's the better pitcher, right? In his last 5 starts, 2.4 ERA, which, okay, that's fine, but his last 3 starts here, right? Which is what's most recent. What have you done for me lately? He's got a 6 flat ERA and a 2 flat whip. So the dude is not pitching all that well. And then you're putting him against a Pittsburgh team who does bat lefties fairly well here. In their last 5, they're averaging 6.2 runs per 9, a near 300 at 297 average there against lefties as well. I don't think Pittsburgh goes out there and scores a million runs today. I don't think that whatsoever. I'm actually leaning towards the under 9 in this game. 9.5 on some books. I don't have access to those anymore, but I do like the under. But I do think that Pittsburgh can, squeak this one out, especially when they're coming off of what I would consider a momentum-building series against Atlanta. So give me Pittsburgh plus 105 here on the money line. And that means the first, 3 games here, we have 2 money line underdog leans, which maybe it's an underdog Friday. We shall see, which kind of reminds me, guys, if you do want a parlay, you got to drop the word parlay in the comments. We were so close last week, meaning I think we've hit 2 of our last 6 or 7 weeks, right? We're trying to keep updated here, but we actually don't even, we should start tracking the parlays, but we don't count them win or loss towards our record, which has hurt so far because we're actually profitable in the parlays this season. But go ahead and drop if you do want a parlay in the comments. We'll throw something together. We'll be on the road today. I don't know if I'll make a video, but I'll definitely list out what the parlay is below if you guys want to jump on board. But let's go ahead and move on to the next game here. Actually, before we do that, let me talk about Fade Me, our clothing brand around here. If you do want to pick up some awesome merch, make sure to check out fademe.store. A few new products have dropped recently as well, guys. It's a great way to support the channel, and the merch is good quality. It's got kind of that classic rustic feel. It's like thick, but it doesn't feel thick when you put it on, and it just fits really well, and I do really stand behind what we're doing over here. Shout out to the bunch of you guys that ordered yesterday. We did have a very good day over there. And I'm not saying we're a Nike, we're not a $1 billion industry, right, or company, but I do appreciate the growth and the investment you guys are putting in it, because we're going to launch better and better stuff as time goes on. So if you do want to support the channel, go ahead to fademe.store. You can also check out the pinned comment. I'll put it in there and pick something up, guys. I get so excited when I see an order come through. I get a notification on my phone and I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I get so pumped because this is really something that, you know, I'm investing in, putting a lot of dollars into. And as of right now, obviously not profitable. You can't start a brand and make profit like that. So if you do want to help me out, if you do want to support, go check out Fade Me, guys. A lot of cool designs over there as of right now. And yeah, I'll put that link in the pinned comment if you do want to support and you do want to cop an awesome tee, a hat, a hoodie, anything like that, guys. Go check it out. And yeah, remember, if you're smart, you'll fade me, but if you're a genius, you will ride. Let's get into the next game here. Phillies taking on the Twins here. We don't have any money line lines. We don't have the run line odds. We don't have the total at all yet because we're still awaiting a Philadelphia pitcher here. But in terms of who's pitching for Minnesota, we are looking at Dallas Keuchel, who they did get the win in his, you know, comeback start there against Arizona. He pitched 5 innings, let up 8 hits, but only 1 earned run and struck out nobody. So I don't really know what to make of it. A lot of guys on base, a lot of hits, yet he still pitched fairly well. So take that with what you will, but we're going to hold off on any sort of lean or play in this one until we do have lines out there. Philadelphia has been kind of rolling as of late, but they've gone from a Miami series to a Kansas City series to a Washington series. Like, I don't want to put too much, you know, eggs in the basket there and strength of schedule and whatnot. Minnesota almost getting swept by Detroit. They take game number 1 9-3 fashion, and then they lose. So I do want to see what the lines come out here. I wouldn't hate Philadelphia if this is near like an even line, but I have a feeling Philly's going to be a fairly heavy favorite here. Then if the total is anything around 8.5, we'd look towards the over. If it's 9.5, I'd probably stick away from it, but obviously those are just me hypothesizing lines and numbers here. Keep an eye on the pinned comments if we ultimately end up rolling with anything once we do have a line for this game. All right, next up we have Washington taking on Oakland. Oakland actually slight favorites in this one as the line shifts a little bit. They're -110 on the money line on the road here. Washington at home, -104. I'm a little caught off guard here. Washington coming home for the first time in, I think, 2 series, right? Maybe 7 games or so. So they got to feel a little bit at home here. And then they have Oakland coming to town, in which this is the beginning of their road trip, and yet Washington underdogs right now. So is it a trap? I lean towards Washington, even though they're not like a way better team. They're definitely a better team than the Athletics here, just because of a bad Phillies series. Like, I don't know why you'd rate the Washington Nationals here as underdogs. Joan Adon on the mound for them today. Maybe that's why, but it's not like he's been pitching like a hot thing of garbage. No, going up against Paul Blackburn, who, yes, he had a good start. I would say his last couple starts actually good, but I wouldn't really say that he's a great starter either. So this feels like a trap. It smells like a trap, and I might be walking right into the trap. Give me the Nationals here on the money line. Total sitting at 9 runs. I can't necessarily trust anything offensively in this spot, so I would slightly lean towards the under, but I don't think that becomes a final play. If anything becomes a final play in this game, it is looking at Washington near even odds against one of the worst teams in the league. But you guys let me know, is this a trap? Smells like it is, yet I'm still walking right towards it because the reward may be there, you know what I mean? All right, next up we have the Blue Jays taking on the Cubbies in this one. Cubs losing 2 of 3 against the Mets as they lose yesterday a couple days ago, 4-3. Toronto coming off of a loss against Cleveland yesterday, 4-3 as well. On the mound for Toronto today is Jose Barrios. He's got a 1.8 ERA in his last 5. The Blue Jays are 3-2 in his last 5 here, going up against Javier Assad, who only has a couple starts on the year, has looked all right, only given you 3 innings or so don't want to put too much stock into that. In terms of where we lean here, I actually see value in a couple different things. So Cubs money line for plus 136 could be sort of a long shot, right? But Cubs plus 1.5, I think, is a safer play. I could see Toronto kind of squeaking this one out. They have, when they are favorites, minus 1.5, they have not covered in their wins or just in their games when they are minus 1.5 favorites on the run line here in 6 of their last 10. So I might like the Cubs for a little bit of a safety net there at plus 1.5. And then in terms of the total 9 runs, these offenses seem to have cooled off at the exact same time. So why would I be looking at the over? I'm not. I'm going to be taking a peek at the under here in this one as well, under 9. But keep an eye on the pinned comment. There are a couple different things in this game that may have a chance of being a final play. I will say this though, like I said, Cubs plus 1.5 may be a safer play because I could see the Blue Jays kind of squeaking this one out, winning it 4-3 or 5-4 type of thing. So keep an eye on the pinned comment, see what we roll with. But if you are on the Blue Jays, if you like the Blue Jays and you're backing the better pitcher and a team that's coming off of I guess I wouldn't say a better series whatsoever, but maybe more of like a they played those games closer, then I wouldn't really talk you out of it. The Blue Jays could still be the play today. Kind of on the fence with this one. That's why I'm leaning towards the run line. All right, Mets taking on the Braves here. Like we already talked about, Braves only winning 2 games there, the sandwich games in that 4-game series against Pittsburgh. And then the Mets coming off of taking 2 of 3 against the Cubs and winning one of those games 11-2. So shout out to them. They got Tyler McGill on the mound here. He has not looked great as of late. A 3.6 ERA in his last 5 starts here. In his last 3 starts, he's got a 6.92 ERA with a 1.62 whip, which it sounds crazy, right? He's got a 1.68 whip on the season. So really letting a lot of guys on base and that type of thing. So we don't love to see that. Going up against Charlie Morton, who also hasn't been all that great. So I slightly lean towards the over immediately in this spot. And I like the Braves here. Minus 170, a decent amount of juice, but I think it is fair juice. I think that they get the job done today in a bounce back spot. In their last 5 here, they're batting nearly 300 against righties, and I do think that they get to McGill today. I don't necessarily see a world in which he shuts them down. His last couple starts here also haven't been that great against them. They haven't been terrible. I don't want to start blowing smoke up your ass, but through 5 1/3 and then 5 2/3, he's let up 3 runs in both of those starts, dating back to last year. And then one of those games, the 5 2/3 with 3 runs earned, was this season earlier, May 1st. So he's been meh against them, but I do think the Braves are even better than they were back, a couple months back. So give me the Braves in this one. In terms of the total, like I said, lean slightly towards the over, just because I do think, the Braves can put up a lot of runs, and hopefully the Mets carry a little bit of that momentum from that 11-run game, was it 3 days ago, right, into this series. But yeah, we'll see. I do like the Braves as my main lean in this one, though, even though it's a little juicy. All right, we got the Red Sox taking on the Tigers here. Boston coming off taking 3 of 4 against Kansas City, as if that's like anything to brag about, but still a fact here. Detroit coming off of that. They win the last 3 against Minnesota, which is pretty much a sweep, if you ask me. In a 4-game series, if you take the last 3, it feels like a sweep either way. If you're the team that got swept, or if you're the team that did the sweeping there. Maybe you lost a little crumb in the dustpan, but you still did sweep in my brain in terms of momentum. Chris Sale, though, on the mound for the Red Sox, has not pitched in 2 months. Who knows exactly what we're going to get from him today? He actually wasn't pitching all that bad. I mean, he started the season kind of poorly, right, and then looked decent in his starts in terms of what we were getting out of Chris Sale, and then obviously then just gets hurt again. As a Red Sox fan, the guy helped us win a championship. I can never complain about the trade or anything like that, but the guy is always hurt. He's going up against Tariq Skubal here, Screwball on the mound for Detroit, who he's looked all right as of late, but you know what? I would lean towards the Red Sox in this spot. I just wish we knew what we were getting out of Chris Sale. So because of that reason, I'd probably pass on this game altogether. Same thing with the total. Like, Chris Sale is a big question mark. He can go out there and deal, but he can go out there and get shelled if he's not totally ready or good to go type of thing. So I lean Red Sox, slight lean, obviously, guys, and I hope you understand that. Like, this is such a wild card. Chris Sale coming back into the fold. We don't necessarily know what we are going to get. So again, leans the Red Sox, but I don't have much else to say on the game. Houston taking on the Angels here. Houston, huge favorites in this one, minus 188. I've seen minus 190s on sportsbooks as well, which makes sense. The team's playing well. They do catch an L yesterday, but I even said it in yesterday's video, like Baltimore isn't bad enough to totally just get worked by Houston, right? So I figured that they'd at least scrounge one out there, but Houston back to business today. I still like them. That juice is crazy, but it could help in a parlay because I could see that being in the minus 200s. They have Justin Verlander on the mound today, which obviously stud pitcher, has been pitching well, 1.4 ERA in his last 5 starts here, going up against Reed Dietmers, who has looked all right at times this season, but coming off a game in which 4 innings pitched, 9 hits, and 7 earned runs with 3 home runs let up in his last outing there. He has another really head scratcher on the last 5 as well when he went up against the Dodgers. So yeah, I'm kind of fading him, backing Verlander. Give me Houston in this spot. 8.5 is the total. I think that this Houston offense has been cooking enough to look at that 8.5 and say, okay, well, they're going to make up hopefully more than half of that, right? And in their last 10 games here versus lefties, averaging almost 9 runs per 9 with a 290 batting average. So hopefully they continue that and look at that 10-game sample size and make it happen again today, because I like the over just ever so slightly, 8.5 here in this one as well. All right, White Sox taking on Milwaukee. I'll tell you what, when I first started researching this game, I was like, all right, what's the angle for the White Sox? I wanted that, but I don't think it is totally there, but I don't know. Michael Kopech on the mound for the White Sox, going up against Corbin Burns. Corbin Burns has been pitching very, very well, and the Sox just have not been batting righties all that well, whether it's on the year or the last 10, home and away. No matter how you look at it, they haven't been batting righties all that well. They have been playing good baseball, 4 of their last 5, taking 2 of 3 against Cleveland, and they take 2 of 3 against the Yankees here, but I just can't really fade Milwaukee in this spot. Maybe White Sox plus 1.5 could be a look, but I think that the White Sox come back down to earth at least in game number 1 here in this series. So give me the Brewers, but I kind of hate to do it. I did try to find an angle for the White Sox, and I really just couldn't get there. In terms of the total, 8.5, I do think it's a low number. I think if Milwaukee does decide to show up like they have been doing, this one will go over. So if Milwaukee does what I'm thinking, and it's the reason why we're fading the White Sox, then I guess I have to lean towards the over 8.5 as well, because this Milwaukee offense has started to not get hot, but it's kind of like, okay, that's a little warm. It's not burning me yet, but it's a little warm. So if it stays warm, I do like the over 8.5. And it doesn't hurt that the White Sox scored 9 runs yesterday either. Maybe they're a little, okay, it's getting a little heated up there. All right, Kansas City taking on St. Louis. We did just get pitchers here. For Kansas City, Coleman is on the mound. And then for Wayne right here, we are looking at the pitching for St. Louis. In terms of odds, we don't have a money line. I have a feeling it's going to be fairly even, so I'm going to lean towards St. Louis, who just has a little bit more momentum. We don't have odds yet, and the total, we don't know either. But, if we're looking at this correctly, this Kansas City team has had super high totals. They are at home. It's probably going to be 9.5 to 10.5. Either way, I do kind of take a peek at the under, and I lean St. Louis on the money line. I just wish we knew what those numbers were. I'm hoping it's fairly even odds, because that would fare well for St. Louis, because I do think that this Kansas City team lost all their momentum that they had a week ago or so, and maybe St. Louis winning 2 of 3 against Tampa Bay, especially the last 2 of that series, maybe they build a little bit of momentum there. But we'll wait and see for our final plays when that does end up getting the odds are made for that game. All right, we got Arizona taking on San Diego here. Blake Snell on the mound for the Padres. They are 3-2 in his last 5 starts, but more notably and more importantly, 3-0 in his last 3 starts. And they played the Dodgers as well as the Texas Rangers in that mix there. So give me San Diego again at minus 162. I hope that offense can kind of, pick it up. They score 1 run and 0 runs in their Seattle series, so not the best for them. They're going to need their offense to pick it up a little bit as they go up against Ryan Nelson, who, has had a couple blow-up spots, but he definitely can step up any given moment. He just hasn't pitched well against the San Diego team. 5 innings pitched in his first start back in April, 3 earned runs there on 6 hits, and then it looked even worse. Couple home runs let up on April 20th, 5 innings pitched, 5 earned runs. So hopefully they can do that again. I think this is a good spot for San Diego to kind of say, okay, let's get their offense back on track. So give me them on the money line. But in terms of the total, I don't want that offense to go off too much. I don't think this Arizona offense is going to go off all that much either, as their offense seems to be a little cold. So give me the under 9. If this moved to 8.5, or 8. I probably wouldn't take it. 8.5, I guess, yes, still, but I do think that there's push potential there at 9 runs, especially when you look at, San Diego and Arizona. If you kind of look at what they do runs for wise, so San Diego 4.6 runs for on the season, and then Arizona 4.6 runs for, so you can kind of see what I'm getting at here with that. 9 could be very important for a push potential, but nonetheless, I do lean towards the under ever so slightly. All right, guys, I know I talked about Daily Grind Fantasy earlier, but Outlier is another tool you guys should be checking out. Daily Grind Fantasy for the DFS and prize picks and underdogs of the world, right? But for straight bets and game research, Outlier is truly where it is at. This is the prop screen right now, and you can see a bunch of juiced odds. So we can make the minimum odds something a little bit more digestible, put minus 150, and you can start to see how players are trending. Last 5, last 10, last 20, head-to-head against that team in the last couple of years, and then last year and this season. You can even go in and kind of dissect. So Blake Snell, right? He has had under 2.5 earned runs in 9 of his last 10 in 74% of games this season. You can kind of look at Arizona and how they bat left-handed pitchers. Okay, a few green, a few red. You can look at how he's fared against Arizona this season and look at all of the supporting stats as well. So look at this is a very, very cool feature here. Looking at him, as a starting pitcher, Arizona versus him, and then his pitch arsenal and breakdown and how these batters bat against it. And you can look at all of the players here too, which is very, very cool. This is an amazing app, guys. It's for your phone as well as the desktop, and I'm really close with these guys. They're continuing to make enhancements just like the heat mapping and everything, right? That's brand new as of August, so check it out. If you do like it, you can also add this right away. So say we like this on DraftKings at your sportsbook, you can click it, opens up a barcode there, you can continue in browser, or you can go through and just start adding a bunch of different plays to your picks and say, okay, you know what, here we go, here's another one. Josh Rojas, let's add that one, and we'll add this one as well, Jose Altuve. You can go down here, you have your picks. All of these are available on DraftKings, and what's cool is one, gives you parlay odds, which is very cool, but you can continue right to DraftKings, look no hands, it's going to find those picks, put them in your bet slip. You don't even have to dig around and find them, right? So it is a very, very cool app. I highly suggest you check out Outlier. They have a trending play tab as well as a game research tab, so if you want to look into games and matchups and trends just like that, go check it out, guys. You will not be disappointed with Outlier. I have a link for that in the description and the pinned comment as well. 7 days free. After that, it's $20 per month, but I've told you guys plenty of times, it is something that'll pay for itself when you use it correctly, and it's not hard to use correctly. Green is good, red is bad. Go check it out, guys. Outlier is the way to go for all of these straight bets and individual plays. Tons of analytics and data in there that's so easily consumable, which is why I love preaching about them, because it is so easy to use for all of the data that's in there. Go check it out, guys. Link in the pinned comment. All right, we got the Dodgers taking on Colorado. Dodgers just went out 2-1 yesterday. Don't have much to say about this game other than it could be a spot for a parlay, but I don't even know if I trust that. Lance Lynn is on the mound now. The Dodgers are 2-0 since acquiring him when he does start, and he has looked pretty good, which is crazy. I remember I used to rag on him, so you can't say Lance Lynn's name without saying LL in terms of his initials, but he's pitched all right. But again, the only spot here could be maybe Dodgers in the parlay, but I got to get over that Lance Lynn phobia because he just really isn't that great of a pitcher, but he's looked good for the Dodgers. So maybe he just needed a little bit of a change of scenery. So keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if this does get thrown into any sort of a parlay. We did have a 2-1 game yesterday. In fact, the Dodgers here have now had a few low-scoring games in a row. Colorado's coming off of a series in which they scored a bunch of runs against Milwaukee. So I think that things flip a little bit here, and we look at the over 9. Keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if that does become a final play. And you know what? While you're down there looking at it, go ahead and comment the number 27. We were 27 minutes into the video, which if you've listened to my voice for 27 minutes, you are an absolute real one. So go ahead and comment and let me know that you are a real one, guys. Comment 27 if you're still watching at this point in the video. Seattle taking on Baltimore. I did, in fact, go back and forth in this one. I do like both these teams. They're both playing good baseball. Obviously, Baltimore, tough series, to play against Houston, and they still take one of those games. Seattle coming off of winning. I think they've won 9 of their last 10, right? 9 of their last 11? 9 of their last 10 for sure, and they've won 7 straight games, so shout out to them. They do have Luis Castillo on the mound. He had a bad outing against the Angels last outing. 7 earned runs over 6 innings pitched, 10 hits hits and 3 homers allowed here, going up against Kyle Gibson for Baltimore, who has been pitching very well. 2.8 ERA in his last 5. The team is 4-1 when he does get the start, but Seattle got to him last time he pitched, which was just about, a month and a half ago or so. He pitched 3 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, and a dinger awarded to the Mariners in that spot. So I'm going to lean towards the Mariners here. I have a feeling sportsbooks know what they're doing, putting them at -135 here. And again, you have Baltimore, who had to go, they're hosting Houston, and this is the first of, I think they have a couple road series coming up, right? So maybe, Seattle likes the fact that they're sitting there and, they just got off to their 2-game start to their, they're at home type of thing, and now they have a series at home against Baltimore before they head out to Kansas City or Oakland, one bad team. So they got to get through this series first. So give me Seattle on the money line here. In terms of the total, I can't, even though we do have 2 good pitchers on the mound, right? I can't help but, look at the over. It's sitting at 8 runs right now. And you just have 2 offenses that are just playing really good baseball. Even though Baltimore lost 2 of those games against the Astros, they only had 1 game in which they scored 2 runs, which is kind of an off game, right? They scored 6 runs and 5 runs in the other 2. So give me the over in this one as well. If they just do what they've done this season, Baltimore's totals are 9.26, obviously depending on what team they're playing with, but on average 9.26, and Seattle sitting at 8.63. So they should be able to get to 9 runs in this spot here. And then if not, you do have that push potential of 8, which I like as well. So I like the over, has a chance to be a final play for sure. All right, San Francisco taking on Texas, and I smell something fishy here again. You have a Texas team that has won 8 of their last 10. Yes, they caught an L a couple days back here against Oakland, going up against San Francisco, who lost 2 of 3 against the Angels, and Texas is only -112. Now you have John Gray on the mound for them. Wouldn't say he's been great. He's kind of hit or miss this season, going up against Scott Alexander, one of their openers for San Francisco. So you guys know I like to fade the openers. And you have Texas, who, I don't know. It's just kind of weird that this is the line that we're seeing come out here. So, yeah, maybe I'm missing something. I haven't seen any injuries that would be indicating of like a line move or opening line like this. So give me Texas on the money line, guys. In terms of the total 8.5, slight lean towards the over, but, I don't necessarily think that's going to be a final play just because this Texas team, 0 runs yesterday. Do I expect them to bounce back? Sure, but I can't expect San Francisco to consistently, put up their end of the bargain there. That offense has been absolute hit or miss. So yeah, give me Texas on the money line as my main lean, and let me know in the comments if something's fishy about this, because smells like another trap, but looks like we might like traps today, right? A little weird here, but give me Texas on the money line. And that is going to wrap it up for the picks for today, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy the video. If you did, go ahead and smash that like button if you have not yet. If you made it this far in the video, you deserve to hit that subscribe button as well. We're here every single day, and as a reminder, the videos may look a little different for the next couple days, but we'll make do with what we got, all right? I hope you guys do enjoy, and yeah, thanks for supporting, thanks for watching, especially if you're watching past the half-hour mark here. Thank you guys so much. I'll catch you guys in the next video, all right? Peace out.